library disc. I don't know what the fuck I just watched, or why it even existed to begin with. Words cannot describe my confusion. I drove to my local library this morning to get a history book for high school. I had a project that was due the week after, and the first thing I had to do was write down a bunch of note cards citing information from the book. It was incredibly boring. So after about an hour of searching, I eventually just visited the DVD section to find myself a movie for later. I spent a minute or two looking for a movie that interested me, and I ended up pulling out a case with a printed piece of paper on its sleeve. Every side, including the spine, had a poorly stretched and cropped image of My Little Pony promo art. Now I want to point out, I know absolutely nothing about the show. The only thing I'm aware of are the names of the characters and the setting that it takes place in. I learned this from a few fan works online. They're everywhere. I was thinking of putting it back at first, but I ultimately decided to take it with me. It looked like some sort of bootleg, as the disc itself was just a blank DVD-R. Bootleg media really interests me, alongside obscure media, seeing what kind of menus they have, and how the media was recorded to begin with. Kinda like this one pirated copy of The Incredibles I had found, where the entire recording was done in a movie theater. When I took it over to the librarian to check it out alongside the history book, she went through the listings on her computer and couldn't even find it there. Someone must have put it in there without the staff's knowledge, but she let me check it out anyway and told me to be careful with it. Nice lady. When I took it home and popped the disc into my computer, VLC Media Player came up, and unsurprisingly, I was right. 6 squares against a textured background of a brick wall, with each square playing a short clip of the episode on there. All except for the 6th one, which just showed a picture of some character's home from the show. There was a play all button at the bottom, and the header on the top that read My Little Pony Special, all in white Constantia font. The background music was a clip from some unknown country song, which sounded really bad for a menu. Each division on the DVD, just like the menu music, had pretty deficient audio quality, and the video being somewhat alright for a bootleg standard. Everything looked TV recorded, as the aspect ratio was slightly wrong in some parts. Then the 6th one came. Here comes the bizarre shit. Based on my research after watching it, I'm inclined to believe that the animation was created specifically for this bootleg. I can't even find anywhere online, not even old YouTube or forum accounts. The episode began with a fade into the interior of Pinkie Pie's house in a night setting. Pinkie was seen laying on top of her blankets with her pet alligator standing on all fours, as still as a statue next to her. The setting suddenly cut to daytime, with Pinkie opening her eyes and jumping out of bed, squealing like a little girl about Celestia's special day. The first thing that felt out of place, though, was Pinkie's voice. She spoke in English, but with a slightly broken foreign accent. I think it was Indian, but I'm not entirely sure. In fact, every character had this similar accent, like a voiceover. After a short montage of her brushing her teeth, styling her poofy hair, and getting party decorations in order, she rushed outside, bouncing erratically with a list in her mouth. The list had all her friends, consisting of Twilight, Fluttershy, and the rest of the main 6. First place she bounced to was Twilight's library. Twilight answered it and greeted her. "Oh, hi, Pinkie Pie." "Hi, Twilight. Today is a special day. Can you guess what it's for? Can you? Can you?" "Oh, hi, Pinkie Pie." "No, silly filly. It's not about me. It's about Princess Celestia's day of birth. And we—" "Oh, hi, Pinkie Pie." I guess." "So you're ready for her super spectacular coronation of anniversary birthday hybrid extravaganza?" "Hi, Pinkie Pie." "Twilight, aren't you interested in—" "Hi, Pinkie Pie." Hi, Pinkie Pie. Hi, Pinkie Pie. Hi, Pinkie Pie. Pinkie was visibly nervous to the point that she started to sweat and bite her lip, but she snapped out of it and slowly backed away. "Well, just keep in mind that you're invited, Kay? See ya." Pinkie then walked away, asking herself what the hell that was all about, a question I had in my head after watching the whole damn thing. The scene cut to Sweet Apple Acres. Applejack walked up to a tree full of apples and kicked it, causing a whole slew of them to fall down into a pile. Pinkie Pie jumped out from behind the tree, bouncing happily as she spoke to Applejack, who was unfazed from the sudden surprise. Hey, Applejack, it's Princess Celestia's birthday today, and I'm hosting a party for her. You want to come, Applejack?" Applejack was continuously kicking the same tree with the same expression and movement, over and over again, like how Twilight was greeting Pinkie in an endless loop. Pinkie surrounded her, getting in her face, smacking her in the back, tickling her sides, just doing whatever she could to get her attention, but Applejack didn't budge. "AJ, I'm right here! Can you hear me? You are invited to a party! Hello!" No answer from Applejack at all. Pinkie groaned with exasperation before walking off, shaking her head in disapproval. She then told herself that third time's a charm, before moving on to find Rarity. Upon reaching Rarity's boutique, she knocked on the door and walked inside before approaching her, saying hello in an awkward tone. Rarity is seen at her work desk, holding an unfinished dress, repeatedly pulling it towards her and pushing it back outward, as if she were sewing. The sewing machine was nowhere close to the dress. In fact, it literally was turned on next to her, with nothing inside of it. Rarity, I don't know why everybody's acting so strange today, but maybe you'd like to come too. Oh, come on! Rarity doesn't answer, continuing to push and pull on the dress on the table. Pinkie Pie picked off Rarity's glasses with her teeth and ruffled her hair. No response. She stomped out of the boutique, groaning to the heavens. The same looping occurrence went down to the next two members of the main six, with Rainbow Dash reading a Darren Do comic upside down to Fluttershy filling a bird bath until it overflowed. Eventually, after seeing how even Fluttershy wasn't paying attention to her, Pinkie Pie stood on her hind legs and shouted to the sky, "Fine, you want to ignore me? You want to have question marks buzzing around my head? Whatever. I don't need you. I'll go celebrate by myself." Her hair blew up like a balloon and deflated, straightening out across her back before she slumped her head down and trudged away. The scene faded to Pinkie Pie walking into Celestia's castle, still sad and forlorn as ever from how she couldn't get even a single friend of hers to speak to her. She looked around the castle, calling out for Celestia, until the Sun Princess herself came into view. Out of the entirety of the main six, she actually didn't sound like she was stuck in a loophole. "Hello, Pinkie Pie. Is something bothering you? You look quite upset. Can I please talk to you? I'm so confused, and everyone's ignoring me and I don't know what's going on. Come sit next to me, Pinkie, and tell me what's wrong." "Okay." Pinkie sat next to Celestia, looking down at her hooves. Melancholy music tuned in. "All of my friends have been acting weird. Most of them have been doing nothing but ignoring me. Rarity, Rainbow Dash, even Applejack. Today is supposed to be your birthday, and I wanted everyone you care about to come by, but it's like none of them even like me anymore. I failed you. I'm sorry. I wanted it to be a surprise, but I blew it. Pinkie, listen carefully." Pinkie is held close to her bosom. "You did not disappoint me. Don't ever say that about yourself. The thought of you remembering and trying to get others to celebrate proves how kind-hearted you can be. But I don't need a party to be shown respect. All I ever want for my birthday is for Ponykind to have kindness and regard for each other. You did get very upset, but I'm sure if you asked them what's wrong, they would tell you. They are your real friends after all. Think carefully. Did you do something to upset them before?" "No, they were just fine yesterday. They're acting weird." "Well, Pinkie, asking them isn't out of the question. Are they acting any particular way when you say they're ignoring you?" Well, Rarity sewed absolutely nothing. Rainbow was reading a book upside down, and Applejack just kept kicking a tree. I took her hat off, Princess. I took her hat off, and she didn't say anything." "I see, that normally gets on her nerves. What about everyone else?" The more Celestia asked questions, the more crestfallen she seemed to look. "Fluttershy just kept filling up a bird bath, and Twilight, I don't even know what was wrong with her. She was like a broken record. I tried to walk away, and she just kept repeating herself. I don't think she's messing with me. She's not the type of pony to do that. Could it be the cupcakes I had last night?" Celestia froze when she caught her breath, as if she was about to say something but couldn't. She closed her mouth and stared down at Pinkie Pie, looking as if she hadn't slept in weeks from dissatisfaction. The background music came to a halt, and Pinkie Pie was confused, waving her hoof in front of Celestia's face. "Princess? Celestia? Hello? Oh no, don't tell me you're doing it too." "Oh no, I heard everything you said, Diana. Believe me." "Then why did you stop? What did you just call me?" Celestia sighed and cleared her throat, before standing back up. She faced the opposite direction, not even bearing to look at her just yet. "Have you ever thought that your existence, or at least this one in particular, is simply blinded by impulse? That these occurrences are just your thoughts begging for you to put the poison down?" "Princess, what are you talking about?" "I'm talking about you, Pinkie. You don't think that your friends are acting this way because your mind is in working mode, telling you to get some real ones?" "Real ones? But they are my real friends. Didn't you just say they were?" "Stop. No, they aren't. I would have spared you the brutality if you had watched your tongue, but now that I've heard it all, I can't keep up this charade much longer. Pay attention. Celestia? With that, Celestia finally turned around. Her eyes were still wide open, but with the use of After Effects, a real human mouth was pasted over a pre-existent one she had. The voice sounded like it came from a grown man. The music came back, but it sounded like it was slowed down like some psychedelic rock song. Relax and wake up. You'll be okay. You'll find plenty of new ones above, right? Celestia, you're scaring me. Everyone's scared of the truth, Diana. Stop calling me that! Or what? Will you scream at me like you always do? Like you do with everyone? Will you throw up on me like the sponge you are, sucking up all the alcohol you see? Will you wet yourself like you did on the sidewalk? Comply. Everything will be just fine. I don't even drink. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Huh? Look at you. You can't even remember correctly. You did this to yourself, sitting catatonic, staring at the wall like this little world of yours would change all the mistakes you've made. You're a shattered failure. There's only one way you can right the wrongs now. Photos and clips of real people inside of what looked like a house party flash across the screen in quick succession. Each of these people were drinking, partying, horseplaying with each other, and even committing random destructive acts such as wildly tearing up furniture, smashing appliances into pieces, and marking up drywall with sloppy derogatory insults such as vile slag. I don't know why those were showing up or where they could have came from, but I'm not even sure I could even comprehend what made them act so mindless. Maybe it's the alcohol, but they were way too quick to do what they were doing. Pinkie ran out of the castle and the scene switched to her racing back to Ponyville with a look of pure fear. She stopped and looked around her. Every single resident of Ponyville was frozen like a statue. Twilight was saying, "Hi, Diana," nonstop in her doorway. The strangest part of it all, though, was what was originally the horizon. The sky was replaced with a stretched photograph of some drunken, yellow-haired, heavy-set college teenager wearing a stained Pinkie Pie t-shirt, unconscious on the pavement, soaked in her own yellowish vomit, and her eyes rolled up into her crown. CV&T was scrawled across her head in marker. Pinkie slumped onto the ground and started quietly giggling to herself. Her eyes were filled with dread. A short clip of a child having similar hair and skin to the drunk woman in the sky appeared, violently screaming and shaking, with her hands gripping her face for a split second. The human-mouthed Celestia walked up and freaked out, now nervously chortling Pinkie Pie, staring her down from above. Her pupils were now replaced with long horizontal slits like a goat would have. Rise. Look around you. How can you call this fun, let alone normal? Wake up. Celestia's hoof struck Pinkie's forehead, causing her to fall over on her back. Wake up, you pawn! Pinkie was laughing hysterically. Her pupils tightened into tiny dots, and tears flowed down her eyes like waterfalls. Gargantuan talking heads of the Sun Princess circled around her, screaming and echoing, "You pawn," progressively louder, enough to make my ears ring if my speakers were on max volume. The scene suddenly cut back to the nighttime bedroom setting from the beginning. The music slowed down even more. Pinkie was jerking and shaking violently in her bed, shrieking with a disgusting amount of shrill in her voice. Her eyes were completely blind white, and her wailing, widened jaws, with saliva dripping down her mouth, went into a smile. She fell off her bed, landing next to her pet gator, pressing her hooves against her temples and arching herself upwards before going into a clonic fit of twitching. She looked as if she was having a seizure, all while her little toothless gator companion sat there watching. After about a half a minute, she went limp, her breath shortening until she could be heard no more. She died right in front of Gummy. That's when the episode cut to black, the last frame being of her corpse next to her bed, and the DVD menu popped back up. I just sat there dumbfounded. How do you make something like this and put it on a TV recording and then just decide to put it in your pirated DVD? Was this meant to go to a specific person? To send a message? Just to fuck with someone? Why a library of all places? I ended up purchasing the DVD, not telling the librarian why I wanted it or what I saw, mainly because I needed to get clear as day evidence. Don't ask me for the full footage unless you absolutely positively can show that you're the girl in the video, or that you know her personally with proof. I'm not blackmailing some random lady and possibly putting a target on her head, all because some people care more about obscure media. I'll know if you're faking it.